Now there is less than 2 weeks to go until the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, and it all began to get very real last night as Team Europe captain Padraig Harrington made his captain's picks. Sergio Garcia, Shane Lowry and Ian Poulter were his three choices, and I just wonder what former captain Paul McGinley makes of them. Delighted to say we can speak to him right now. Paul, a very good afternoon to you. So go on then, let's start with that. What do you make of these picks, Paul?
Yeah, I think they're very predictable, to be honest. I think given the options that the captain, Padraig Harrington, had, they were the three picks that many people expected. I think there's obviously a miss not having Justin Rose in that team. He's going to be missed as a player who's coming into form with a huge Ryder Cup pedigree. And I'm sure that Padraig would have liked to have had Justin in the team as well. But with only three picks and kind of four doesn't fit into three, unfortunately, Justin was the one that missed out.
But Paul, Justin Rose is a legend of the Ryder Cup. This is a huge decision to omit him, surely. Why do you think it is that he's missed out above the others?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the main reason is form over the summer period. You know, Poulter, Garcia and Lowry have all showed a good bit of form over the summer period. Justin has not. Even though he's had two top tens in majors this year, it's been a very poor year by his standard. He didn't finish in 25 and a previous over in America. Didn't make the playoff series. Yes, he made a dash for the line last week in Wentworth, where he played so well, particularly yesterday. But you know, obviously, Padraig thought it was a little bit. It was too little, too late. He would have liked to see more form from him over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and that wasn't the case. So he went with the guys who have big pedigrees, also in Sergio Garcia and Poulter, as well as the rookie in name, probably only in Shane Lowry, but the guy who's been playing well. One of the top performing Europeans over the summer, as well as obviously a former Open champion and a player that it seems to be really fitted to what the test will be over in Whistling Straits, which is a links-style golf course.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, Paul. I mean, from your experience, how much do you consider when you're making these captain's picks? Do you think about the likes of who's going to actually suit the course the best out of the options you've got?
It's one of the considerations, there's no doubt about that. It's become very scientific over the last number of years in how captains make picks. They've got a statistics team and a data team behind them. He had 4 vice captains who was also leaning on. He would have spoken to a couple of the players on the team who had automatically qualified as well. He would have been throwing in potential partnerships. All of those things would have went into the mix before he made his decision. I know it was quite a long meeting, so I don't think it was an easy decision for him. And I'm sure he weighed up all the options before he eventually went with the 3 that were chosen. But I think Justin Rose must have been very, very much in the foremost of his mind and close to being one of the picks. But as I say, 4 into 3 doesn't work. And the fact that Justin is missed out, I think it's there's no doubt it's a downer for the European team. We'd have liked to have seen a Justin Rose who just seems to be coming back into form again on the team. But it was just a late run for the line, and the fact that Padraig ultimately felt that he didn't have a lot of options, and he wanted to go with the 3 players who have played the best over the summer, who are not automatically in the team.
Yeah, you talked about the data and statistics there, Paul, and the long meetings. Does it ever come down to a bit of a gut feeling, an instinct?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. And, you know, when you talk about instinct and gut, again, he's probably gone with the 3 guys in the team. You know, how can you say that, you know, Sergio Garcia with his pedigree in the Ryder Cup, as well as Ian Poulter and his pedigree in the Ryder Cup, as well with, you know, what he's seen from, you know, one of his best friends in Shane Lowry over the summer period, and how he won, you know, so admirably won the Open Championship a couple of years ago. I think that was all part of his gut decision. I think his gut was also pulling at Justin Rose, particularly with this late run of form that he's shown over the last month or so to try to make the team. But ultimately, he's gone for the guys who have yes, a good feeling, but also, as I say, have played more consistently over the summer period.
OK, so the decisions have been made. We heard Billy Horschel, who wasn't picked for the USA team, Paul, say yesterday that he would have liked a call to tell him that and just explain why. Do you think Harrington would have done that with the likes of Rose? And if so, just how difficult are those conversations to have?
Yeah, there's no doubt he would have called Justin Rose. Absolutely. The guy who was just outside the team is going to be the first phone call, and obviously the toughest phone call. That wouldn't have been an easy phone call for Padraig. But, you know, all captains have to do that. It's part and parcel of the job. There's no point in making a big drama about it. not all things are going to be roses as a captain, and not all things are going to be plain sailing. And you're going to have to stand up and lead at stages, and you're going to have to have hard conversations and tough conversations in stages. And this is one of those. So he's formulated his team. The 12 are in place now, and now it's a case of kind of trying to get his pairings together, looking at the weather forecast over the next 2 weeks as we get ready for Whistling Straits, and last minute decisions. But most things are done at this stage. The uniforms of all the players, where they're staying, what's going to be happening every evening, the meeting rooms, the data analysis will have come pretty much to a conclusion at this stage, and it is most of his job in the next 2 weeks will be about communicating with all the players and indeed the caddies, gathering a little bit more information and starting to formulate which players will be suited to the foursomes, which to the four balls, and which guys will be playing 5 matches, which 4 and which 3, and they're all the kind of last minute things. The Ryder Cup captaincy moves in different stages, and he's moving into the home run now, as they say, and a lot of big decisions will have to be made, and we're getting close to what is going to be a great Ryder Cup. There's no doubt the American team are very, very strong, and we're going to be really up against it. But we have a lot of experience in that team, and hopefully that's going to come to fruition in this big event that the Ryder Cup has now become.
Paul, I'm slightly nervous to ask you this question. Is this the best ever USA team?
I think, yeah. I mean, listen, it seems like every time we play a Ryder Cup, that argument comes up. But certainly, if you look at the world rankings and how highly ranked these players on the American team are, you average it out, and I think this is the lowest ever ranking that America have come to a Ryder Cup with. Maybe not in terms of major championships won, but in terms of world ranking, yes. It's a young team. It's a vibrant team. There's no doubt there's a changing of the guard going on over there in America at the moment. With obviously Tiger and Phil not in the team as two. And, there's definitely a youngness to the team, a freshness to the team. And guys, you'd have to say, are not kind of contaminated with losing so many Ryder Cups as America have done over the last 2 or 3 decades. So that's what brings a freshness to them, a determination to them, and obviously really, really, really strong players. And our team is different. Our team is certainly a more experienced team. I think we've got almost 40 Ryder Cups played between us already as a team. Some will call us an older team. Others would say we're more of an experienced team. But one thing is for sure, we're really up against it. This is going to be a very, very difficult Ryder Cup to win.
Well, that leads me on to the last question, which I'm sure you can guess, Paul. I'm going to have to ask you for your prediction with less than 2 weeks to go, and I'm sure it might change a couple of times before we actually get that first shot underway.
Well, I mean, listen, the bookies have got America 1 to 2 odds on favourite, and it would be silly for me not to say that I'm going to go for the outsider here. There's no doubt America are favourites, and rightly so. It's going to be very difficult for us. Having said that, we are the underdog. We always revel in being the underdogs. We've got some really, really big players in the world stage now. John Rahm, Victor Hovland, Rory McIlroy immediately come to mind as guys that can really lead us to victory. And should those players, who will all probably play 5 matches, should they all have a big haul of points, I think that we've got a real good chance. I think we've got a real nice, tidy team. But as I say, we're up against it, and I'll never discount Europe. I'll never underestimate Europe, but there's no doubt about it. The bookies have America, as they say, odds-on favourite for a reason.
OK, Paul, it's going to be an absolute thriller. I'm sure we'll speak to you very soon. Thanks for joining us here on Sky Sports News.
Pleasure. Thank you. Good afternoon.